Hello, and thanks for joining us for Staffing Unplugged, a medical solutions podcast that delves into the world of staffing and recruitment. Each episode, we bring you insightful discussions, expert interviews, and thought provoking conversations with industry experts. I'm Kristen Dahl, your host, joined today by Matt Neel, Vice President of Allied Health, and Rebecca Mollak, Director of Client Success. Thank you both for joining me today.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Let's start with some brief introductions. Matt, can you kick us off by explaining your role at Medical Solutions?
Yes, Matt Neel, Vice President of Allied Health here at Medical Solutions. And my role, it really is to oversee both recruitment and sales of our allied health staffing teams. We really deal with four main staffing divisions: cardiopulmonary, imaging, laboratory, and rehabilitation services.
All right, thanks, Matt. And Rebecca, your title is Director of Client Success. Can you explain what that entails?
Yes, I've been with the company for about 14 years. Matt, he actually comes with a wealth of knowledge going on 20 years. So, congratulations this year, Matt.
Thank you.
My role is specifically to talk to the clients, making sure that we are providing white glove service. It's important that we're constantly pivoting and moving with the market the way that it is. Our job and my job specifically is to make sure that operationally we're running smoothly and then to align initiatives with client success, our fulfillment team, as well as what the initiatives are of the client.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Rebecca. Well, today we'll be talking about allied healthcare staffing and what you're seeing as far as trends and challenges with the allied healthcare market. Before we dive into those questions, Matt, you kind of alluded to this earlier, but can you start by providing a high level explanation of allied healthcare and which specialties we classify as allied?
Certainly. I will just start off by a disclaimer that some of our clients, hospitals, may look at allied health a little bit differently, but here at Medical Solutions, we divide our allied health team into really four main pillars, four divisions. Cardiopulmonary, which includes respiratory therapists, and we throw some other specialties in there, such as sleep techs, dietitians. It really is just make sure we have a team covering those specialties. Imaging services or imaging is our largest division. It's all imaging specialties to include some of the more popular ones: MRI techs, sonographers, CT techs, nuke med techs. Laboratory services is our other division. As it sounds, it is all lab specialties. So medical technologists, medical laboratory technicians, histologists, cytotechnicians. And then our last division, fourth division, is rehabilitation therapy. Includes physical therapists, occupational therapists, but we also include pharmacy techs as well as speech language therapists in that division. So 37 specialties that we cover here at Medical Solutions, but we divide all 37 into one of those four divisions.
Wow, that's a lot. Thank you so much for breaking that down for us. So, when you're looking at the market for allied healthcare professionals, how would you describe the current demand? And how does that differ from what we're seeing with nursing demand?
Sure. Demand, it really is like the four divisions, it's a tale of four cities. So when we look at what is a high demand today, it would be imaging services and rehabilitation therapy. Imaging, all specialties inside of imaging, all 13 that we categorize, are really seeing a higher than historical demand, especially post COVID. So it depends again context, but CT techs, for example, it's overwhelming demand right now across the nation. It's not even regionally focused. It's nearly every state is looking at high demand for CT techs. Rehabilitation therapy is also seeing a high demand. I would not say it's the highest that we've ever seen, but it is near highest that we've seen, especially post-COVID, and it is for all specialties when you look at the therapists. So, as I mentioned before, physical therapists, occupational therapists in all states, all regions. This is not unnormal, I'm sorry, or abnormal, I guess, if you were to look at rehabilitation therapy, but it is still a high demand, and it's been that way for quite a long time. On the other side of the scale would be our laboratory division. Lab today currently is seeing a relatively low demand, especially if you look at the time I've been with Allied Health, 20 years. It's near a 20-year low as far as the demand across the nation. There's a lot of reasons for that, and I'm sure we could talk about that. But that's at the other end of the scale. And then right where we would consider a normal market is cardiopulmonary and primarily respiratory therapists. It's about what we would see for a summertime time frame for demand across the nation. Now, one thing with cardiopulmonary is that they do see seasonality. So as the winter comes along, a little bit more influenza affecting the demand, we would see an uptick, but that's a normal seasonal demand thing that we would see. And cardiopulmonary is right there as we look at the market today.
And Rebecca, I know you watch the market closely in your role as well. So I'm curious, from your perspective as well, in which specialties are you seeing the most demand?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing more demand within the imaging area specifically. I'm more impressed that, Matt, you were able to rattle off all those specialties without messing up. But yes, we are seeing more demand within our imaging areas specifically. Matt hit on therapy a little bit. What we are seeing more is our post-acute centers have actually increased their need within post-acute, and they feel like the older generation, we've obviously have to fill the vacancies within that. We have seen a decrease within our lab positions. A lot of those are going towards the central localized lab. And we think that is kind of why the demand has gone down there. But for sure, most of our clients are still needing those imaging professionals.
And can you also expand on what's causing that demand and why we're seeing higher demand for some allied positions than others?
Yeah, imaging specifically, I don't think there's one rhyme or reason, but one of the main reasons that we've talked to and kind of been collecting data from is that there are less invasive surgeries, therefore has caused all of the imaging professionals and imaging testing to go up. And we need those imaging professionals to be able to run that equipment. And so with that, we've seen an increase. And if you think about it today, if you have a less invasive surgery, there might be 3-4 tests in order to be able to approve to do that less invasive surgery. Therefore, the increase of demand to be able to run those equipment.
I'm also curious, Matt, how do you think the COVID-19 pandemic impacted allied healthcare demand? And is the market still recovering from any of those effects?
Yeah, I think what we saw in 2021, 22, and into 23 was Allied did not see the overwhelming demand that nursing saw. Nurses obviously need to deliver direct patient care, so Allied did not see the spike in demand during that time frame, especially in the height of the COVID time. And in fact, we saw probably more of a cooling of the market because it was more of we needed all hands on deck, especially for nurses to get out there and help those patients. But on the recovery from COVID is really when we saw a lot of what Rebecca had described of people coming back. They needed those imaging services. They needed that MRI exam that they did not have before, that they might have put off. That it was important, but it wasn't exactly necessary or medically necessary. So we saw a lot of the rebound. And I think what we're seeing is, as with everything, an aging population, and now that the population is able to get out and about, imaging service is a very good diagnostic tool for physicians to determine the next course of action for patient care. So I think that's why that we're seeing especially the overwhelming demand with imaging. And I think, again, with COVID, I think we're out of an after effect for COVID. I think what we're seeing now is really a generational demand that's back. And if we don't have any other major issues across the country, we don't see the demand cooling for some of these specialties. And that's good news for clinicians that are looking for work, looking to help clients. Puts a little bit of a strain on supply, and our ability to help clients is really where we're going to see a constraint, and especially in imaging. And it's such a hot topic that I don't think that we can blame anything more on COVID today. I think it's where we're at with our country.
Yeah, wouldn't you say it's fair to say we had all-time high within the respiratory therapy division,
Mm-hmm.
cardiopulmonary during that COVID, and I can see that we probably saw less demand over the last year within that area specifically. But as we ramp up for more cold and flu season, that area will also begin to go up again.
Agree. Yeah, you have a really good point, Rebecca. With respiratory therapists, we did see an overwhelming demand. Again, that direct patient care with helping those patients with to breathe. And now that we are seeing that COVID is nearly non-existent in many places, that the demand, it really has returned to what we would say is a normal market, a normal demand curve with that seasonality coming into effect that we really start to see normally pick up in late September, early October.
Okay, great answers. Shifting our focus a little bit here, Rebecca, I know you work with healthcare facilities, and I'd imagine the high demand for certain allied positions is causing challenges for some of the facilities that you're working with. Can you share what you're seeing from clients?
Yeah, we're offering up strategies, and they're actually filling us in on some of the internal strategies that they have. A couple things that they have done that we've talked about being on site is that they are paying for some of the allied professionals to go to school. They're also offering flexible work scheduling, different shifts than you would ever think. 4 hour in 4 hour increments, being able to do more 8 hour days. The flex scheduling and flexible work environment is very popular right now with our younger generation of employers and so our employees. And so those are things that they're also offering is how can we let them enjoy the work and kind of be around them. So that's kind of what they're doing.
And Matt, are there any different challenges that you're seeing from your perspective?
As far as what the challenge that we have is really it's time. Everybody's pressed for time. We understand hiring leaders at our client facilities are pressed for time, and the clinicians are looking for a shorter timeline to make a decision. They're having a lot of opportunities, especially in imaging, as we've mentioned, and so they're being offered a lot of opportunities across the country, and it really is who can speak with them first and talk about their department, talk about reasons why they would want to come to that facility and help those patients out. Time is of the essence. So I think that the time constraint on everybody is really pressing the market, and the person who can move quickly usually has an advantage with being able to speak to that clinician, get to know them, ask them the pertinent questions, allow that clinician to ask them questions and make a decision to bring them on board their team. And that's probably the biggest thing that we're seeing with our clients, that everybody's pressed.
So, Rebecca, I'll ask you, what are some tips that you have for those facilities who are looking to quickly fill those vacancies or even just need a contingency and plan in place for unexpected staffing shortages?
Yeah, we need to be able to interview as quickly as possible. We are still in an environment where time is cuts deals, and so the faster that you can interview, call them, sell them on your facility, let them know of all the benefits that you have internally. That's going to be the better. The quicker we can get offers in place, that helps the clinician be able to accept the offer quickly. We are in an environment where the clinician may be sent out to 10 positions, especially within our imaging space or pillar. And so being able to quickly get them on the phone, determine if they're the best fit clinically for your unit, and then make that offer is so very important right now. Forecasting. We've also talked about that. We're coming up into seasonality, so the winter season. And so if you feel that you're going to need respiratory therapists, now would be the time to look at it and say, how many did we need last year? What did we go through? Ask your partner, whether it's Focus One or Medical Solutions Plus, your MSP, and partner with them, asking them, what did we see last year? What can we help forecast for? Extensions. If we know that we're going to need imaging professionals, CT, X-ray, all of them, let's get them extended now throughout the holidays. We're seeing lots more 6-month extensions. We're seeing 4 or 5-month extensions. We're seeing longer contracts. We need to be able to keep them there for as long as we can into January. So those are just a few things that we can do, and as a partner to be able to help you to make sure that these next few months we don't see as much need.
All great advice. Well, you've both been in the industry for quite some time, and I'm sure you've seen the market change. I'll start with Rebecca. How do you foresee the future of traveling allied healthcare roles evolving in the coming years?
Yeah, I don't see much of a change for imaging. I think it's going to continue to go up. I think we all are evolving into a tech world. We're starting on the nursing side to see more AI. We're going to see that. I do see in labs specifically more hospitals adapting to a one source lab, which will cut into more of that lab demand. I see therapy. I continue to see it go up within our post acute centers. Our older generation, we're going to have to help them. The less invasive surgeries that you have, the more therapy you need after the surgeries. And so I see those continuing to stay stagnant and or go up. Um, I foresee that imaging is going to continue to be a demand, and that we'll just continue to see that rise.
And Matt, is there anything particular that you're looking forward to or excited about when it comes to the future of allied staffing?
Well, I would say it's always exciting for us to know that we have an ability or will have an ability for the future to help our clients. We realize that there's a lot of focus on nursing out there, and it's understandable. The nurses direct patient care. There's certain ratios that need to be there, and that's a very important role. When it comes to allied health, we've kind of flown under the radar a little bit, especially in the past. But with the demand rising, we recognize that we need to be at the top of our game when it comes to talking with clinicians, getting them prepared, and getting them prepared for the environment they're going to be faced with. There's a lot of people asking for their help, and there's not enough of them to go around. So it's exciting to be able to know that we're going to be an important part of the solution for our clients, but also a little bit nerve wracking to know that there's going to be a lot of pressure on us. And I agree with what Rebecca had said. I think the demand is going to be consistent, and I think may not be exponentially consistent. It's going to be consistent, and it'll be up to us to make sure that we're talking with those clinicians, preparing them for the questions that the clients will ask, and to make a decision quickly so those clients can get on with their day. So I think that it's exciting to be part of the solution. It's exciting to be a little bit more into the focus, but we've got to make sure that we're holding up our end of the deal.
All right, perfect. That's a great note to end on. Matt, Rebecca, thank you both for joining me today to share your insights into allied healthcare staffing.
Thank you very
Thanks for
much.
having us.
And thank you also to our listeners. Please join us every month as we unravel the complexities of healthcare staffing recruitment, sharing expert insights and actionable advice that can help you with your recruitment efforts. Again, please visit our website, medicalsolutions.com, for more information on our healthcare talent ecosystem and how we can help your facility reach its full potential. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.